talking Bills and Packers. A little 2-week vacation.
Vacation's a good way to put it.
Yes, a little 2-week vacation in the middle of the football season. We're getting in the home stretch here, so it's like, let's unplug, let's recharge the batteries so we can settle in, because I'm on Instagram today or yesterday, I think, and they've announced like we're getting into the part of the season where the Saturday games are about to start.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
like, the end is near when the Saturday games come.
Yes, the end is nigh. Aren't the Bills the first Saturday night, Brian?
Yeah, they're playing the Dolphins. They got flexed to prime time there, 8:15.
Yeah,
that's gonna be a pretty sweet game.
Yes, that is good. Well, that's a huge game in the AFC East. Yep.
And it's just like AFC East the whole way until like the end for the Bills, it seems like.
Well, I don't know. We're going to talk a little bit about the Bengals. They've got the Bengals. That last Monday night football game of the year, Bills and Bengals is...
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's for home field.
Let me tell you, my friend, we've been sitting on this pod, and we are not the only one who, from the beginning of the season, have been saying, oh, well, it's going to come down to the Chiefs and the Bills in the AFC. I don't know. There's a certain Mr. Joe Cool in Cincinnati who's going to have something to say about that.
Yeah.
And their receiving core in Cincinnati is pretty intimidating. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to lie.
Yes. The team itself.
Except for the offensive line. That offensive line is horrendous.
Joe Cool's good enough to overcome it, though, Brian.
Yeah.
He's calling him Joe Cool for a reason here.
Yes.
He'll be all fine.
I'm telling you. Don't judge me. I'm going to give you both a heads up. So when this eventually comes, you won't judge me. But, Aaron Rodgers has like 1 year left in him. And then I think, it's going to be some dark down years for the Packers while they sort of rebuild their core. So one day I'm just going to come on this podcast and I'm just going to just be in orange and black.
Oh, man.
And I'm going to be like, this is my allegiance until the Packers get good again. As
long as you're not in purple and yellow. That's all I care about.
Because I have a full-blown man crush on Joe Burrow. He is Joe
just
cool.
Yeah, cool's the best. Like walking in with those glasses and the ice and the way he handles his press conferences. I just want to be best buds with him. I can invite him to my birthday.
And he just rocks the Air Max 95 so cleanly.
Yes. And you know what? You know what I love about him? He's so cool. There's that word again about how Patrick Mahomes is his bitch.
Yeah, I didn't realize he owned him like he did. I just heard that stat recently, and I was like, really? Like, I can't believe that.
What makes him cool is that he doesn't acknowledge it. He's like, you know what? Let everyone else talk. I'm going to be over here doing my football thing, and if you need me, just give me a shout.
And I'm just going to quietly walk into this building looking like a badass.
Oh, he knows what he's doing there. He knows exactly what he's doing there.
Well, no, and on the other side of the field is the guy that everyone gushes about week after week after week about being the most dynamic quarterback ever. And I'm just going to quietly roll into this building and I'm going to beat him for the third straight time. Just like last year when I beat him to go to the Super Bowl.
I will give Pat Mahomes props this year, though, because he's somehow have you heard anything from his wife or his brother on any social media platform? What?
It's probably because they listen to this podcast and we're tired of chirping them on it. Yeah.
But
it's probably like Brian Chalk doesn't want us to talk on social media.
How do you think that conversation went? How do you think that, that's what I want to know. How do you think that conversation went?
I think it's his agent. His agent probably went to him and was like, fucking lock it up. Go deal with this because we can't have this distraction or this bad press. I don't think it was him on his own being like, maybe I should have a conversation with Brittany.
It just been like, credit cards will not work anymore. So either you shut your mouth or there's no credit cards.
Yeah. There was an adult that came and told them to lock it up.
Yeah. And Mahomes is such a superstar now that he has his own PR team and they probably Pat, can we talk to you? And then they're like, can you just leave your wife and brother at home for this one? And then they all got in a room and then they just showed him some slides and they were like, people and some tweets and some Instagram comments and people were like, they hate your brother and your wife. So, and it's hurting your image. and
I'd
need
be
to get
so
them
annoyed
off the
too,
sideline.
though. I'd be like, that's like when I take my brother to work events and I was like, oh, you got drunk again. Like, why would you do that? That's how I feel like Patrick Mahomes lives every day. It's like, oh my God, you drank all the vodka again and threw up on my boss. Like, it's ridiculous.
Okay, so we got a bunch of stuff to jump into here. Let's start with Brian's Buffalo Bills, who are once again atop the AFC. But listen, the Bills look good on Thursday Night Football against the Patriots. Don't want to take anything away from them. But I think you've got Joe Burrow to thank for placing you on top of the AFC standings once again.
There's no denying that. Like, obviously, the Chiefs losing is what's putting us up there because it's 9-3. I think, are we both 9-3 or the Chiefs 8-4 now? I can't remember what
Chiefs
they are.
Chiefs are 8-4.
Yeah, so I mean, that 9-3 won't. That's not going to keep us up there forever. It swings every week. It seems like, especially because we're only playing AFC East teams for the next few weeks.
Hold on. Sorry, I got confused there. The Chiefs are 9-3. The Bengals are 8-4.
Okay, but the Bills have they beat the Chiefs earlier, so they have that home field based on that. But I mean, it's pretty good because we're facing the AFC East the whole time until I guess the Bengals, and I mean that helps us with the record if we could win all those games.
And Von
Miller's injured. Yeah, he's gone.
Where does he play a role in all of it? Like, or doesn't play a role in what happens to the Bills?
I feel like I thought he's coming back for the playoffs, though. I've been hearing that he might be back for the playoffs, so rest him up.
Did they say he was out for the season? I'm 99% sure I saw something today that said he was done for the year.
I thought he could be, or maybe it was like assumed to be done, and then to Brian's point, he might be making a swift comeback, but who knows?
Oh, well, that same story's going around about Von Miller out for the season. ACL.
Oh right,
yeah. You're not coming back from that.
Yeah,
coming back.
At least not in 4 weeks.
I know. I haven't been following this week because I've been so busy at work. But it's not great. It's not great if he's out, to be honest.
Brian, the podcast is your work. Okay?
I know.
Yeah, Brian, come on.
I do wish. I wish.
Get it together.
We just need our first sponsor, and then we're good to go.
So, how are you feeling?
I feel pretty good, to be honest. Like, if that offensive lineman didn't have holding on that touchdown pass to Diggs, it would have been a whomping, because that was like a 75-yard touchdown pass. So I'm not really that concerned. The run game's been looking pretty good. So as long as we keep beating the AFC East and just keep winning and winning, I don't see any problem.
Well, the East has gotten exposed a little bit. Like 2 weeks ago when we were on here, we were like, all four of these teams are in the playoffs. This division is really good. And it's like, the Jets have come crashing back down to earth. Yeah. The Patriots are not very good again. Mac Jones is screaming at Matt Patricia on the sideline.
Tua got exposed.
Yeah, Tua got exposed, man. I love when stuff like that happens. It's just it's such football speak. It's like, once Tua has to go off the script, he can't do it anymore.
And you saw that.
Yes.
It's very inside football.
Yeah.
Jimmy G's out.
Jimmy G's out. I know. Oh, I know.
But I mean, with that team, it doesn't really matter because you could throw in anybody in that offense, and Kyle Shanahan's just going to run the ball.
Yeah, but who am I going to look at?
Purdy.
Big Dick Brock is what they're calling him.
Mr. Irrelevant. Why do they give him that name? Because he's the last pick in the draft. I didn't know that was a thing.
Greg Kittle tweeted that, and it just started to go, or George Kittle. Sorry, I call him Greg Kittle.
You could have said that about Brady back when he was drafted as Mr. Irrelevant. You could say that about you could say that about Rodgers.
So I'm watching Red Zone, and Garoppolo gets hurt, and Scott Hansen is like, and in comes Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy, and I'm like, that's rude.
It's
Scott
pretty harsh.
That's a rude thing to call
imagine
this guy.
That's your nickname. Imagine like Brian goes back to work tomorrow and they're like, Mr. Irrelevant.
There's Mr. Irrelevant.
I mean, could happen.
So I'm kind of like, that's a really rude thing to say, Scott Hansen. And then it's like, no, that's his nickname.
But imagine you're the parents.
He gave it to himself. Oh yeah, I was going to say that. Like his mom's there.
Yeah.
That's shitty.
Yeah.
Dude, that's exactly what went through my head. What if someone in the Purdy family is watching Red Zone right now and out comes their cousin or their brother or their son, little Brock, And Scott Hansen is like Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah.
Imagine they said that to Patrick Mahomes. His wife would be all over Twitter again. She would be making a comeback.
It would be a disaster. Now, a question for you two. How do you feel that Rodgers will not let Jordan Love play the rest of the season?
So I wanted to bring that up because I want to talk about one thing and one thing only, and it's Jordan Love. Rob, I think you have a hot take, so I will refrain. But go
before
ahead.
you go though. Jordan Love looked.
I don't know if I have. He looked okay. I mean, those were some laser bullets that he was throwing, and I thought they were going to win the game and come back. When was that? 2 weeks ago? My Dominican mind's all messed up now. But Jordan Love looked great out there, and Rodgers needs to kind of take a step back because he's got one more year left, and he's being a little bit of a bitch.
I think he did look very good. The biggest story of the Green Bay Packers thus far by a mile is the emergence of Christian Watson.
Oh,
yeah. This kid has like superstar potential all over him. He can absolutely fly. And now that he's figured out how to catch the ball, it's completely changed their offense. If he started, you know what's so funny is the very first play of the season in Minnesota, Aaron Rodgers threw a bomb to him down the field and he missed it and it went in between his hands. And you just think like, would the season be different if Watson caught that ball and they went in and scored on that first drive? Like, would the season be different? So Jordan Love, I thought Jordan Love looked really good as well. I thought him and Watson, it's like, this is like the young duo of the Green Bay Packers. But Aaron Rodgers has $60 million on. He's coming back next year. He's not walking away from $60 million. The Packers have committed $60 million to him. If he retires, then they'll have, I don't know if it's quite $60 million, but it's a lot of money in dead cap that they can't use. He's not going anywhere.
No, he's definitely not. However, he should probably, even the rest of the season, why not let him play? You kind of have nothing to lose at this point. Like, just let him right up. Let him get some touches.
They should do a Saints-style offense, though, like Taysom Hill back.
They're on a bye this week. Like, next week, I've kind of written the Packers off.
No, they're done. They're done. Yeah. Like, their season's over.
Mathematically, I'm pretty sure it's like niente now. I was looking at the standings today. I was like, no, that's it.
So the film you have on Jordan Love right now against the Eagles looks good. So Aaron Rodgers is coming back for one more season. Why don't you let him play out the rest of the season to develop more chemistry with the Christian Watsons? Romeo Doubs will be back after the bye. Work with them and try your best. Like they asked Goody and LaFleur did a press conference. It was like yesterday or the day before or something. And someone said, do you ask Gutekunst, do you think Jordan Love is an NFL caliber quarterback? And he was like, oh, yes. Unequivocally. I think, he needs to get in there and he needs to play in the games, but it takes young quarterbacks a long time to develop. And we're like really happy with where he's at. And I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but it was like a glowing review. Why not keep that film against the Eagles and let it circulate out there and let someone give you some assets for him in the off season? And
that does sound like a hype up for a trade.
Yes, that was the first, because I just think with Rodgers, like, you're all in on Aaron Rodgers. You have $60 million devoted to him. You've got the draft pick from the Raiders that you got for Devontae Adams that you could use in this year's draft. These young kids are starting to come on. Their chips all in next year for a Super Bowl. Like they are. Like it's like it is what, and they have to do everything they can to try and win a Super Bowl next year with Aaron Rodgers.
I don't disagree with that, but I will say it's like one game against the Eagles, although it was a great game. It's just like, if I'm the head of player personnel, I'm going to look at that and be like, that's not a big enough sample size to figure out what this kid's actually made of, right? Like, but you can't just look at 10 minutes of game film.
But this is why you're not a head of player personnel for an NFL team, because you're too smart.
Well, that's true.
I thought you were going to say because you're too short-sighted.
No. I was
going to be like, my dreams are crushed.
No. You're not idiotic enough to do that job. We see guys on teams making idiotic decisions on players all the time.
That's
like
fair.
Baker Mayfield. is now with the LA Rams.
Crazy. That's
Yeah.
I just feel like
Yeah.
that's such a ridiculous move by the Rams.
You see it all that like the football culture. There's one word to describe football culture: stubborn.
Very
Like that's
old
it.
school.
And these guys, and old school, and these guys could do. Someone could take some team next year takes a flyer on them. They can get them like quote unquote on the cheap for a couple draft picks, bring them in, and the Packers need more assets because that's another thing. So it's like, okay, you're all in with Rodgers, but you have so much money devoted to him.
Totally.
So you have to
it for yourself.
Yes, so you have to surround him with as much cheap talent as you possibly can.
And next year, he's 39. Do you think a 39-year-old Aaron Rodgers is capable of winning a Super Bowl at this point?
I think if he's not an asshole, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big if. That's a massive
he's
if.
kind of a little wobble, like with his rotator cuff or shoulder there. Like
and
he's got more up on his thumb.
His COVID
like,
toe.
That's the thing about Brady. Like Brady was never really injured, right? Like he had a pretty protected...
I'm gonna give you my hot take on Tom Brady in a second. In my personal opinion, there is one issue with Tom Brady and one issue only. But right now, when we talk about Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, their offense has clicked this year. Their best game of the season was against the Dallas Cowboys, and in that game, they decided to not be stupid and ran the ball more than they threw it. And every time that their run game has clicked for them this year, they've played well and won. And so if they can fully commit to the run game next year, and if he can stop. But also, now that they have Christian Watson clicking, it gives him a weapon. It just changes the offense so much when you've got a guy who's like, teams now are going to start to get film on Watson, and he's going to start to attract more attention. So you're going to have like two guys covering Watson at once, which is going to open the field for Alan Lazard, who's been getting double coverage and that sort of thing. And it's just going to help. It's the missing element. It's the missing Devontae element.
You're right, because Josh Allen was like unleashed when Diggs came. Like the difference you saw in the offense was night and day.
Yeah, like Alan Lazard had a career year last year. Why? Because everyone was covering Devontae Adams.
Like 3-4 guys on Devontae.
Yes. So it just is
I don't
what
think
it is.
I've ever heard you say that the Packers' best game was against the Dallas Cowboys. Like that's a sentence I never thought would come out of your mouth.
I think their best game of the year this year was against the Dallas Cowboys, and they played and their offensive game plan was not stupid and selfish and like stubborn. It was, we have Aaron Jones, he's a superstar. We're going to run the offense through him, and then when he opens up the field with the running game, you can make passes. But all year, it's just been this LaFleur and Rodgers idiotic, pass-happy, like the run game. How many times have I watched them this year where the run game is working and either Dillon or Jones are working? And it's like, no, okay, now we're going to line up in the shotgun. It's like, what? Why? Why are we doing this?
And I had to drop Dillon from my fantasy team because he wasn't getting any touches. Any like the first like 8 games of the season, I was like, I have to drop this guy. He gets no touches a game.
And then he had a huge game against the Bears this last weekend. You know, the thing about Dillon though, Brian, is you got to wait till it gets cold for AJ Dillon.
Kind of, yeah. I kind of see that. He likes the cold weather, especially like Derrick Henry. It's like the cold weather, they can just start running.
That guy's thighs are
tree
trunks. Yeah.
I wonder what that guy can squat. It's like 900,000, 1,200. Like, what do you think he can squat?
Forget what he can squat. I just want to give him like objects to crush in between his thighs. It's like, let's start with this chestnut and now this watermelon. Like book, like watermelon. Yeah, exactly.
And he just like has guys hanging off him, and he just keeps going. It's crazy.
Yeah, how old is he now?
I don't know. Let's look how old AJ Dillon is.
A little Googles,
because I feel like he's been around for a long time, but like
24.
Jeez. I thought he was gonna be like 28.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, this is all nice to talk. I think any conversation you want to have about the Green Bay Packers at this point has to do with next season. I think they're done. Like even if they win out the rest of the way, which I don't think they're going to, but even if they win out the rest of the way, they've lost to a lot of the teams that they're in the hunt with. Like they've lost to Washington, they've lost to the Giants, like they've lost to the Lions. So it's like they're done.
Sorry, Green Bay Packers fans.
Yes, sorry. So we'll see you next year. From now on,
refer this podcast to a Bills friend, and then they can come and listen to what Brian has to say for the next.
Yes,
5
and like I
minutes.
said, this podcast may change in the not too distant future to talking Bills and Bengals.
Yeah, the BB.
Because I'm a Bengals guy. Yeah.
Over my dead body.
Yeah, I don't like that, Rob. That doesn't sit well with me.
Okay,
that's in the
right.
AFC. That's in the AFC.
Nice,
yes, it's right. It
sounds
nice.
Really good. Pithy.
Yeah, yeah.
Some NFC.
Tom Brady.
Oh yeah, hot take.
I think Tom Brady's biggest issue is he no longer wants to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer.
Yeah, I think he's done.
But still wants to play football.
Yes, I think
Todd Bowles is an idiot though.
We've heard
he's such a bad coach.
I think it's also because he doesn't have his little friend Gronk with him either.
Yeah, and just that the culture of that organization has always been like one of like that isn't really disciplined, and like when he got there, he was able to change it and bring enough of his cachet to like get them to a Super Bowl, and since then it's just been the same old Buccaneers, and I think for weeks now we've heard rumors about him to the 49ers, and I'm a huge where there's smoke there's fire, and I think Jimmy Garoppolo getting hurt, like Jimmy's done, like he won't be back with the 49ers. Now he's done for the year and he won't be back with the 49ers next year. Trey Lance is not ready. The situation with the Niners is tailor-made for Tom Brady, because if you watch Tom Brady, he does not like to get hit. He does not want to get hit at 45 years old. And the way the Niners run their offense, the Niners got to a Super Bowl and an NFC Championship game with Jimmy Garoppolo throwing the ball like 9 times in a game. And Brock Purdy comes in the other day and they play well and they win. Why? Because the Kyle Shanahan offense is stand there and distribute the ball. Don't do anything crazy. Like we'll open it up with our run game. We'll open it up with our offensive line. We've got receiving talent that can do it. And it's just, I could see in the offseason Brady signing a 1-year deal with a 2nd-year option to the 49ers.
What if you're Brady right now?
But doesn't he have his contract next year though?
I think it's up this year.
He done this?
Yeah, it's up
this year. And then isn't he? I can't even remember. He's going to Fox or like ESPN or something.
Well, that's whenever he wants to retire. They said so. They have it like loosely based on when he wants to retire. I missed that. But I just think like
so it's not like 2023. I guess.
But if you're Brady, you have the power. You can just go to Tampa Bay and say, "Cut me right now. I'm not playing anymore. Cut me." And then just call up Kyle Shanahan and be like, "Hey, let's go."
Or you could be 45 and maybe spend some time with your kids.
That ship has sailed. That ship has sailed.
That ship has sailed.
What? I'm sorry.
His kids are getting like emancipated from him now. It's like Giselle already divorced him.
As soon as that crypto fraud came up, that ship sailed so fast.
Yeah, and like as soon as those divorce papers got filed, you learned what Tom Brady's priority is, and it was not Giselle. He cheated on Giselle with football,
and she cheated with some trainer or something.
and yeah, he committed adultery
really
on
good,
Giselle.
Like Inquirer title of like those gossipy magazines. Like
he
Tom
had
Brady with football.
He cannot. Yeah, it's just him in a football, and like he can't. His true love is a football. He can't. He just can't. And you've got the Niners are such a good team. Like this thing with Jimmy is like super. Listen, Brock Purdy looked really good, and I actually think that they're going to win a few games with Brock Purdy. I don't think they're going to win a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy. No. So this injury to Garoppolo is really devastating for them because they are a really good football team.
And like their defense is so strong.
The number 1 defense in the NFL.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm just tired of seeing Brady on my TV. Like, is that so
get
much
ready.
that? Like,
get ready.
I appreciate the legacy. This is something we probably won't see again in our lifetime. Like, totally get it. Good for you, Tom.
I kind of agree with you.
But it's just like, get off my television.
I agree with you.
Like,
and he looks so weird this year. He looks so skinny and just like sick. And
Brian, I'm telling you,
too many green juices.
Yeah, and when you're going through like personal family stuff, it's stressful, and I just don't think he wants to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer anymore. I think he's
I've been
done.
hearing he's going back to the Patriots. I've been hearing that rumor pretty heavy
Brian,
though.
He's not going.
No, let it go.
Mac Jones is screaming at Matt Patricia on the sideline.
Yeah,
he is not going back to have Matt Patricia call his plays.
I don't think Matt Patricia's calling plays next year.
I also think Patriots fans might get like a little bit like, what the fuck's going on here? Because when he went to Tampa, or sorry, not even when he went to Tampa, when he retired and then came back, like he thanked everyone except like the Patriots fans.
He did it. He did a separate video for the Pats. But I mean, it was after the hate. That was after.
Right? It was like, well, what about us? And now it's like, now you want to come back and be back with Belichick, and like, it's just, he's a different.
I've only heard this from Patriots fans, though. I've only heard it from Patriots fans.
And he grew up. He grew up a Niners fan.
Yeah, he's straight. I think he's from San Francisco.
Yeah, he grew up a Niners fan. It's so like, and like I said, if the Niners. It just makes so much sense. Like if the Niners were like a mediocre team, you'd be like, he might go to the Niners and whatever. It's like, no, like it's and the way their offense works, it's a perfect fit for him. Their team is so good. They have the best coach in the league. Like their coach is so good. He's lapped the field. Mm-hmm. And now with Daboll, Daboll's the first one to come along being like, oh, you might be in Kyle Shanahan's league. But
or like, Miami's McDaniels. He's pretty good.
Oh yes. Yep. So it just makes so much sense. And I'm telling you, we're gonna be talking about this like let's start of next year. We're gonna be like Tom Brady and the 49ers.
46-year-old Tom Brady.
Let's put a on it. What do you want? A case of beer?
I'll do a case of beer. I'll do a case of beer on that.
Yeah, let's do a case of beer. Okay. Case of beer.
I'm saying he's not going back. So we got to go retirement, stay with Tampa, and then go to the 49ers. Rob's going to take going to the 49ers.
Yep.
Brian, I'll give you the other one of the other.
You don't have to stay with Tampa if you want, Brian. You can.
I'm going to say go to the Patriots. Go to the Patriots.
Okay. Or go like anywhere else. I'm going to say he's going to retire.
Are you thinking?
Okay.
There's zero chance he's retiring. Zero chance. Especially after that divorce, that's freshly signed. He's not going anywhere.
Yes,
well, I think he's going to be like a really beautiful commentator and roll around the country and not have to worry about like going to practice and just like bang a bunch of girls that he couldn't have done when he was married, or unless he was already doing that again.
Guy's a psychopath. I mean, he doesn't care about any of that.
But hold on. If you're going to talk finances, then we do have to lean to DVD's prediction because the deal with Fox is $375 million.
And how much do you lose from that?
It'd be like Scrooge McDuck jumping into his pile of coins and like doing the backstroke.
Yes.
I don't even think it's about
I
money.
like Alexander Keith, by the way.
Okay. All right. I'll
cream
Boodle-a-gettes for Brian.
For me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, Boodle-a-gette for me.
Boodle-a-gette for Rob.
Yep.
Boodle-a-gette.
I have one question to ask you guys. Do you guys think the Minnesota Vikings are a threat in the playoffs?
Yeah,
kind of.
I do. It's just
you do. I don't think they are. I don't think they are.
Once prime time hits,
a mild threat. Like I'm not going to write them off. Yeah.
Yeah. Once prime time hits, it's over for Kirk Cousins. He can't play in prime time. If they have like a 1:00 Saturday playoff game, they're winning that.
Playoff vibes and like mentality though is a little bit different than regular season.
I really hope that we get a Cowboys Vikings playoff matchup. I think that would be so perfect because obviously it's the Cowboys in the playoffs, which is always must see television, combined with Kirk Cousins and a Vikings team has looked good, not great, but keeps winning games. And it's like I think Vikings Cowboys in the playoffs will be appointment television for myself.
The Vikings running game is looking really good.
Hold my calls.
The receivers are unreal. So it's Kirk Cousins barely has to do anything.
It's their defense. So the thing if I'm a Vikings fan, which I will never be, the thing that would scare me the most is their defense is not great. You can move the ball up and down the field on their defense and have been all year. And Kirk Cousins, like that's great that you have Justin Jefferson, but like when it's Kirk Cousins throwing him the ball in prime time, that's what you got to worry about.
Yeah. I just feel like how much better would that team be with, let's say, Josh Allen? Imagine how good the Minnesota Vikings would be.
I'll ask you a question. Would the Vikings be better?
Podcast.
Yeah. Would the Vikings be better with Dak Prescott?
I feel like Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins are kind of the same quarterbacks. Like they make a lot, like it's a lot of check down passes, a lot of, if you go off script, you're kind of screwed with those two guys. So I feel like they're very similar. But it's just the Dallas Cowboys, I feel like, are a more complete team, especially with their running game. That Pollard guy is unbelievable.
Yeah. Yep. And if we're taking Dax as it, like that guy's really injury prone. And then what are you going to be left with in the Vikings if he gets hurt? Like, I don't know.
That's true. Well, same thing with the the Cowboys have, what's his name? Why am I forgetting his name?
Oh my God. The guy we love. I know.
Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
Cooper Rush.
I was thinking
we did a whole episode just talking about him.
In my head. I was like,
I've also been watching a lot of World Cups, so I'm like, Mbappe, is that who we're thinking about? Like, which is also just a fun name to say.
I know. Mbappe might be the best sports name out there.
Yes, without question. All right, friends. Week 14.
I'm worried about the Jets.
We're, as I said earlier, we're in the home stretch. Tell me your week 14 matchup that you are most looking forward to watching. Not a lot of games this weekend. I'm pretty sure this is the final weekend of buys.
I was going to say that because like the slate is really bad. I was looking through it. There's like one or two games I'm truly interested in. So we're probably all going to say the same things.
Go ahead, Brian.
I'm Philly, or the Eagles and Giants. It's like decently NFC East.
I had that one. I wouldn't mind watching the Vikings in Detroit just because it's NFC North.
DVD. I'm right there with it. No, but like the Lions are playing well and they're
look good. Yeah.
I've been hyping up the Lions since like week 1 on this podcast. They're a sneaky good team.
They've been playing well, and they like. I think they're gonna give. They're at home. The Vikings are on the road.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna give the Vikings a really tough game.
And Vegas is getting smart.
It's gonna be good
because they have the -2.5, and I've always said they can lose to any team by 3 points. So 2.5, Vegas is getting smart.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go with Tom Brady facing his soon-to-be new team, the Buccaneers at the 49ers. This is what like Vegas thinks of Kyle Shanahan. Brock Purdy
is favorite,
and the 49ers are the favorite against the greatest quarterback of all time.
And by more than a field goal too, which is funny. Is 3.5.
That's pretty unbelievable. That tells you how the football world
everything
respects
you need to know.
Kyle Shanahan. Yes. And his ability to put together a damn good football team.
You know what's so sad about this week? Sorry, Rob. I was going to say.
I have this. I don't want to say I hate the Niners, but the Niners just always sticking they're a fly in my ointment.
Yeah.
Where like because they kick the Packers' ass every time the Packers play them in the playoffs.
They're the kryptonite.
Not like and it's not like they beat them all. They just squeak that one. It's like, no, they beat the Packers up every single time they play them in the playoffs. So I have such a hard time. And I just think Kyle Shanahan is so good. So it's like, I want to be like, oh God, I love this guy. But I have such a hard time getting on the Niners bandwagon. I really do.
Best uniforms though.
Oh my God. Those are
classic football.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you know what makes me sad?
When
you see like the Ravens and Steelers, and you think about the rivalry from like, the past 50 years between those two teams, and they suck right now, especially no Lamar Jackson. The Steelers are dumpster fire. It just makes me kind of sad looking at that because that used to be like a great matchup.
I actually thought the exact same thing when I was looking at just this week before we came on here, and I was like, oh man, remember when that was actually like a really exciting game and everyone would watch that? Now no one's like, no.
And they were like so violent, those games. It was like
they were, people got hurt.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
I'm actually glad that you brought that up because we can end this episode the way we started it. the AFC North runs through Cincinnati and Joe Cool for the foreseeable, even with Lamar, that division will run through the Cincinnati Bengals for the foreseeable future, in my personal opinion.
Heard it here first.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
And
all right, my friends.
Well,
let's get out of here.
Next week for Bills
tune in next week.
Bengals podcast.
Yeah.
Yes. Tune in next week for talking Bills and Bengals, baby. Actually, no, the Packers aren't officially eliminated yet. So we'll wait till they're officially eliminated. And then I'm going to come on here and I'm just going to be in all orange and black.
Like painted face, too.
Yes.
Just like
yes,
you look like a tiger.
And the Bills will actually beat the Jets this time. Fuck the Jets.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out. If you like what you see, hit that like and subscribe button below. Spread the word. Tell your friends. We really appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time.